Hello everyone. There comes a point in everyone's life when the weight of challenges feels unbearable. We look at ourselves in the mirror and wonder, can I really get through this? In that very moment of doubt lies your greatest opportunity. Because strength is not discovered when life is easy. It's revealed in the storm, in the struggle, in the moments when quitting feels simpler than standing up. You may think you've reached your limits, but you haven't. The human spirit is far more resilient than we give it credit for. History proves it. Ordinary people have endured unimaginable pain, loss, and failure, yet they stood up, rebuilt, and thrived. What makes them different isn't that they were born stronger. It's that they refused to let their struggles define them. Strength isn't about never falling. It's about rising every single time you do. It's about proving not to the world, not to your friends, not even to your family, but to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagine. Think of the challenges you're facing right now. Perhaps it's a dream that feels too far away, a setback that crushed your confidence, or a loss that left a hole in your heart. You can let these moments break you, or you can let them build you. Every time you push through fear, you grow. Every time you face pain head on instead of running away, you discover a deeper layer of your strength. And each victory, no matter how small, whispers to you, you are stronger than you think. But here's the truth. No one else can prove it for you. No words, no applause, no validation from others will make you believe it. You have to show yourself by taking that next step, by doing what you thought you couldn't do. Strength doesn't come from comfort. It grows in discomfort. It grows in those late nights when you keep going. It grows in the moments when you silence that voice of doubt and say, not today. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to start. Stop waiting. If you've been hoping someone will save you, stop hoping. You are the hero you've been waiting for. Today, make a decision, not just to survive your challenges, but to use them as proof of your strength. Stand up for yourself, fight for your dreams, refuse to settle for a life defined by fear or failure. You are stronger than you think. And when you prove it to yourself, no obstacle will ever feel impossible again. True strength is not born in the moments when life feels safe, easy, and predictable. It's revealed in the moments that test you when everything seems uncertain, when the world feels heavy on your shoulders, and when walking forward feels harder than standing still. Anyone can feel confident when life is going well. But when challenges appear, when plans fall apart, when the path ahead looks dark, when fear whispers that you're not capable, that's when your real strength begins to surface. It's in those exact moments that you learn what you're truly made of. Think about it. The tallest trees in the forest don't grow tall in calm weather. They grow strong because they've had to stand firm through storms, bend with the wind, and stretch their roots deeper to survive. In the same way, your struggles are not here to break you, they're here to shape you. They force you to dig deeper, to discover a resilience you didn't even know existed. Strength isn't something we inherit, it's something we build. It's forged in late nights when you keep trying even after failing. It's shaped in the quiet moments when no one's watching, but you still choose to fight forward. It's created in every tear you wipe away, and every time you stand back up after falling. The truth is, without challenges, we would never tap into the depth of our own power. Comfort zones never build courage. Easy roads never shape resilience. Real strength is awakened when you face the storms head on, and each time you survive a difficult season, you uncover another layer of your inner power, a power that tells you that you can withstand even more than you once believed. Challenges are not the walls that block your path. They are doors that open you to the hidden power within you. Every obstacle you face carries a silent invitation, an invitation to rise above, to stretch your limits, and to discover the parts of yourself that would have remained hidden if life had stayed comfortable. Too often, we look at challenges as setbacks, as punishments, or as proof that we're not ready. But in truth, they are the very moments that shape our character. When life tests you, it's not trying to destroy you, It's asking you to meet a stronger version of yourself that you haven't met yet. Think of the times in your life when you were forced to step out of your comfort zone. Maybe it was pursuing a dream that felt too big, facing a personal loss, rebuilding after a failure, or standing alone when no one believed in you. Those weren't just hard moments. They were mirrors reflecting your potential, showing you how much you could handle, how much you could grow, and how much strength had been lying quietly within you all along. A challenge is never just about the external battle. It's also about the internal transformation. It teaches you to control your fear, to keep moving even when the path isn't clear, and to build faith in your own resilience. It strips away the illusions you've built about your limits and forces you to see that those limits were never real. The most remarkable part is that every time you face a challenge and push through it, you don't just survive, you expand. Your courage expands, your patience expands, your wisdom expands. The next time life knocks you down, you realize you can rise again because you've done it before. You start to understand that challenges are not interruptions in your journey, they are the journey. They are the tests that prepare you for the life you've been dreaming of, for the future you're trying to create, for the person you're becoming. And the more you lean into them, the more you see that challenges were never your enemy. They were your teacher, your trainer, your silent guide, waiting to show you the depth of your own strength. Strength has never been defined by the absence of failure or by the illusion of being unshakable. Real strength is defined by what you do after you fall, by the quiet decision you make in the middle of your pain. The choice to rise again even when your heart feels heavy and your body feels tired. Falling is not a sign of weakness. It's proof that you dared to move forward, that you were brave enough to try. Those who never fall are often the ones who never step beyond the safe edges of their lives. But those who stumble, who face setbacks, who get knocked down by life again and again, are the ones who eventually discover what they're truly capable of. Think about the countless times in your life when you thought you couldn't get up again, the heartbreak that left you feeling hollow, the failure that crushed your spirit, the disappointment that made you question your worth. Yet somehow, in the middle of that pain, you found a way to stand. Maybe it wasn't quick, maybe it wasn't graceful, but you stood, and that quiet act of rising revealed a strength you didn't know was there. Each fall is a test, a lesson, a forge. It humbles you but also sharpens you. It strips away the illusion that life will always be smooth, and it reminds you that your power is not in being untouched by hardship, but in refusing to stay down when hardship comes. It's easy to appear strong when the road is straight and the sky is clear, but the true measure of your strength is seen when the path crumbles beneath your feet, when the storm clouds gather, and when you feel alone in the fight, yet you keep moving forward. That is strength. Every time you rise, you carry with you not just the experience of the fall, but also a deeper understanding of yourself. You begin to see that each setback was not the end of your story, but a turning point, a chance to rebuild, to adapt, to prove to yourself that no fall can define your future. And as you rise again and again, something shifts within you. You stop fearing the fall. You stop doubting your own ability to get back up. You start to realize that falling is just a chapter in your journey, not the final page, and that each rise makes you stronger, steadier, more unbreakable. Growth never happens in the spaces where you feel safe, comfortable, and certain. It begins the moment you step beyond the edges of what is familiar, when you leave the warmth of your routine and enter a place where the outcome isn't guaranteed. That is the territory where you meet the truest version of yourself. Most people crave comfort because it feels like security. We like the predictable routines, the known surroundings, the habits we can lean on. But comfort often hides our potential. It keeps us walking in circles instead of climbing new heights. The human spirit doesn't grow by staying still, it grows by stretching. by reaching for something a little higher, a little further than it has ever reached before. Think of a seed. As long as it stays buried and untouched in the soil, it never changes. But when it's pressed by the earth, split open by pressure, and forced to push upward toward the light, it begins to transform into something far greater than it was before. In the same way, you won't discover the depth of your courage, creativity, or endurance until you allow yourself to be stretched by new challenges. Stepping outside your comfort zone can be frightening. It means facing uncertainty, risking failure, risking the possibility that you might not get it right the first time or even the 10th time. But every time you cross that invisible line between comfort and challenge, you discover something powerful, that you can handle more than you thought, that your abilities expand each time you dare to try, that the fear you once thought would stop you slowly loses its grip. The truth is, growth is rarely a smooth path. It often feels awkward and uncomfortable at first, like wearing a pair of shoes that don't quite fit yet. But with each step, the unfamiliar starts to feel more natural. The limits you believed in start to fade. The walls you thought would never move begin to crack, and you realize that they were only as strong as your willingness to stay behind them. You cannot discover the strength of your wings if you never step off the ledge. You cannot learn how far you can go if you never take that first uncertain step forward. Growth asks you to risk the comfort of today for the promise of something greater tomorrow, to trade the safety of the familiar for the possibility of transformation. And as you keep stepping into new and uncomfortable spaces, into the challenges that once terrified you, something begins to shift deep within you. Your fear starts to become your teacher. Your hesitation turns into curiosity. Your self-doubt starts to crumble piece by piece as you realize that every step beyond the old limits is unlocking a part of your strength you hadn't known before. Setbacks and failures are not signs that you are unworthy or incapable. They are part of the natural rhythm of any journey that matters. They arrive not to close doors, but to show you that the path to success is not straight or smooth. It's carved by the struggles you're willing to face. When something you've worked for collapses, when the plan you trusted falls apart, it's easy to feel as if the universe has turned against you. But often, what looks like an ending is really an invitation to grow beyond the limits you've set for yourself. A failure is not a wall meant to stop you. It's a mirror that reflects back the lessons you need in order to go further. Every great breakthrough you've ever admired in art, in science, in leadership, in personal triumph, has a trail of failures behind it. No one arrives at strength, wisdom, or mastery by gliding through a life of perfect success. They arrive there by stumbling, by falling short, by daring to try again even when the world doubted them. Setbacks are teachers in disguise. They reveal where your understanding is shallow and where your preparation needs to deepen. They force you to slow down, to reflect, to re-examine your approach, to adapt, and to build resilience. Without them, you would keep repeating the same mistakes. You would never learn to sharpen your instincts or strengthen your resolve. Sometimes a setback will bruise your pride. Sometimes it will shake your confidence. Sometimes it will break your heart. But even in that breaking, something new is forming, a quieter, steadier kind of courage that cannot be faked, cannot be bought, cannot be handed to you by anyone else. Think back to the moments in your life when you were sure you couldn't recover the dream that slipped away, the friendship that fell apart, the opportunity you thought would define you but didn't. Somehow, despite the weight of that loss, you're still standing. And in ways you might not have noticed, you're stronger, wiser, and more prepared than you were before you fell. Failures aren't evidence that you're on the wrong path. Sometimes they're proof that you're daring to travel a path worth taking. They're the tests that refine you, the fires that burn away what no longer serves you, the storms that teach you how to hold your ground. And the more you face them, the more you discover that a setback is rarely final, It's often the space where a new beginning is quietly waiting to emerge. Validation from others can feel comforting, a word of praise, a nod of approval, a small sign that someone sees your effort. But the truth is, no amount of applause, no trophy, no compliment will ever be enough to convince you of your own strength if you haven't proven it to yourself first. We grow up often seeking approval from parents, from teachers, from friends, from society. We learn to measure our worth by someone else's reactions, how loudly they cheer, how quickly they agree, how often they notice our effort. But there comes a time when you realize that the most important voice you need to hear is the one inside you. The moment you depend on external validation, you hand over your power. Your confidence rises and falls like a fragile flame in the wind, easily extinguished by someone's opinion, someone's silence, someone's doubt. That's why so many people, even after achieving recognition, still feel hollow, because the applause can never fill the space meant for self-belief. Proving your strength to yourself is different. It's not loud or dramatic. It often happens in silence, in the moments when no one is watching. It's in the quiet decision to keep going when quitting would be easier. It's in the patience to keep practicing when progress feels invisible. It's in the discipline to rise each morning and face the day even when you feel unseen. The strongest people you've ever admired didn't wait for the world to cheer them on before they began. They moved forward despite the silence. They believed in their worth when others didn't recognize it yet. Their strength wasn't born from applause. It was born from the steady work of showing up, proving to themselves that they could carry more than they thought possible. Validation from others can be fleeting. Today they cheer, tomorrow they doubt. If your sense of strength is tied to their opinion, your foundation will always shake. But when you prove your strength to yourself, when you've fought through nights of doubt, when you've kept going without recognition, when you've lifted yourself after every fall, no one can take that away from you. Because that kind of strength is rooted deep inside. It's not built on someone else's approval, but on your own lived experience of surviving, of trying, of enduring, of growing. And each time you push through another challenge, you reinforce that foundation. You remind yourself that you are not defined by other people's expectations, that your power doesn't shrink or expand based on their opinions, that you've already faced enough storms to know you can weather more. Pain, fear, and struggle are not the enemies we so often believe them to be. They are the very forces that have the power to transform you if you stop running from them and instead choose to face them. What hurts today is often the very thing that shapes the strength you will rely on tomorrow. Most of us are taught to avoid pain, to look for the easy path, to stay where it feels safe, to run when life gets heavy. But the reality is, no one ever grew into their fullest self by avoiding discomfort. Pain has a way of stripping away what is unnecessary, of sharpening your focus, of showing you what truly matters. It introduces you to a deeper layer of yourself, a part that doesn't wake up until it's tested. Fear, too, often feels like a wall. We see it as a signal to stop, to turn back, to stay in familiar territory. But fear is often a signpost that you are standing at the edge of growth. It's the trembling before a breakthrough, the unease before stepping into something bigger than you've ever dared to attempt. When you stop seeing fear as a warning and start seeing it as an invitation, it becomes fuel instead of a chain. Struggle is the third companion on this journey. It's the resistance that strengthens you, the pressure that shapes you. Think of an athlete training for a marathon. The muscle only grows under resistance. The lungs only expand when pushed to their limit. In life, it's no different. Without struggle, there is no stamina for the storms that inevitably come. Every time you've gone through something painful, the heartbreak that once felt unbearable, the failure that seemed final, the loss that felt like it would never heal, you came out of it with something you didn't have before. a deeper understanding of yourself, a thicker skin against the world blows, a wiser heart that knows it can survive more than it once believed. Pain teaches you resilience, fear teaches you courage, struggle teaches you persistence. Together, they forge a kind of strength that comfort could never give you. They burn away illusions and leave you standing in your truest form, raw, real, and ready. The next time you feel that ache in your chest, that knot of anxiety in your stomach, that weight of resistance pressing down on you, remember that these are not signs that you're failing. They're signals that you are growing, that you are stretching into a version of yourself that cannot be built in the softness of ease. And as you continue to walk through those seasons of pain, as you learn to face your fears instead of retreat from them, as you choose to see struggle not as a punishment, but as a partner in your growth, something extraordinary begins to shift within you. You begin to sense that the very things you once wished to avoid are the things that are shaping your courage, sharpening your focus, and unlocking the deeper reservoirs of strength you never thought you had. Every small victory you achieve, no matter how quiet, no matter how unnoticed by the world, plants a seed of self-belief deep inside you. It doesn't have to be a dramatic, life-changing moment. Sometimes it's the smallest act, choosing to get up and try again after failing, speaking up when you used to stay silent, facing a fear you've carried for years. Each of these moments whispers the same truth: you are stronger than you thought. The problem is that we often dismiss these small victories. We overlook them because they don't feel big enough, because there's no audience cheering, because the mountain still looks huge ahead of us. But strength is rarely built in giant leaps. It's built in the quiet, consistent steps that no one else sees, in the steady rise after every stumble, in the way you keep going when the progress feels invisible. Confidence is not a gift you receive from others. It is a trust you build with yourself, one small promise kept, one hard day survived, one challenge faced at a time. Each small win becomes a stone in the foundation of that trust. The more you collect, the stronger that foundation becomes, until you can stand tall even when the storms come. Imagine a person learning to lift weights. They don't begin with the heaviest bar. They start small, testing their own limits, discovering what their muscles can bear. Each time they lift a little more, their strength grows, and what was once impossible becomes part of their warm-up. Life works the same way. Every small victory is like adding another plate to the bar, another proof that you are more capable than you believed yesterday. These moments accumulate quietly. They don't always look like milestones, but later, when you face a challenge that once would have crushed you, you realize you've grown. You realize that the reason you can face it now is because of the countless small battles you've already won, the times you kept moving forward when it felt pointless, the mornings you chose to rise after nights of doubt, the conversations you dared to have instead of hiding in silence. This is the hidden power of small victories. They change the story you tell yourself about who you are. They transform the voice of doubt inside you into a voice that remembers all the times you rose before. They give you proof not borrowed from someone else's success, but carved from your own effort, that you can face whatever lies ahead. And as you continue to honor each of those little wins, as you keep showing up for yourself in moments that no one else will ever see, you start to feel a shift. The distance between who you were and who you're becoming grows wider. The weight of old fears begins to feel lighter. The road ahead, though still uncertain, doesn't seem quite as impossible anymore. Waiting for the perfect time is one of the most subtle ways we hold ourselves back. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I feel ready, when I'm stronger, when the timing is right. But the truth is that perfect time never really comes. There will always be another excuse, another distraction, another reason to wait, and the longer we wait, the further we drift from the life we're capable of living. Action is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. No amount of planning, no amount of wishing, no amount of daydreaming can replace the power of taking that first step, however uncertain it feels. Growth doesn't arrive as a sudden burst of clarity. It reveals itself as you move forward, one step at a time, discovering what you're capable of along the way. Think of all the opportunities people miss because they're waiting for that one perfect moment. They wait until they feel confident, not realizing that confidence is built by acting in the face of fear. They wait until they feel skilled enough, not realizing that skill is gained through the messy process of trying, failing, and trying again. They wait for a clear sign, not realizing that the path often reveals itself only after you've begun walking. We often mistake hesitation for preparation, but they are not the same. Preparation equips you, hesitation traps you. Preparation is a step forward. Hesitation is standing still, hoping the road will somehow appear smoother. What you discover over and over again is that it's the act of moving even imperfectly that creates the opportunities, that builds the courage, that opens the doors you couldn't see before. Every meaningful journey begins before you feel ready. Every dream that became real started as a shaky, uncertain first step. There's no magic moment when fear disappears or the stars align to tell you it's time. The moment you begin is the moment the transformation starts. Think of a seed buried in the soil. It doesn't wait for the perfect weather to sprout. It breaks through the earth even when the conditions aren't ideal, stretching toward the light because that's what it's meant to do. We are not so different. We too are meant to push forward despite the doubts, to rise despite the uncertainty. What often holds us back isn't the size of the challenge ahead, but the weight of the stories we tell ourselves. It's too soon. I'm not ready. I don't have enough. But the longer we hold on to those stories, the more we build a wall between us and our own potential. Action, even the smallest action, chips away at that wall. And as you begin, even if it's clumsy, even if it's slow, even if it's with trembling hands, something begins to shift inside you. You start to realize that waiting was never what you needed. You start to feel the quiet strength that comes from choosing to act despite the doubts, from moving forward even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. You begin to understand that it's not the perfect time that shapes you, it's the imperfect, courageous steps you're willing to take right now. You are your own hero, not because someone declared it, not because the world crowned you with that title, but because at some point in your life you will have to be the one who chooses to rise, to fight, to move forward when no one else can do it for you. There comes a moment for everyone when you realize that no amount of advice, no amount of encouragement, no amount of support can carry you past certain struggles. People can stand beside you, they can cheer for you, they can guide you, but the actual step forward, the actual choice to try again after falling, the actual decision to not give up when it would be easier to surrender, that choice will always be yours. Being your own hero isn't about being fearless. Heroes feel fear, often more deeply than anyone else, but they act anyway. They face the storms with shaking hands. They confront the darkness while their hearts are still uncertain. They keep walking because somewhere inside they have decided that retreat is not an option. When you finally decide to stand up for yourself, for your dreams, for your dignity, for the life you know you're meant to build, you begin to discover a strength that no outside approval could ever give you. You start to see that courage isn't a gift handed to a select few. It's a muscle that grows each time you take responsibility for your own path. This realization can be both liberating and terrifying. Liberating because it means you don't have to wait for someone to rescue you. Terrifying because it means you can no longer hide behind excuses. The turning point in your life often begins with the simple, quiet admission, "It's up to me." The heroes we admire in stories and history weren't always born extraordinary. Many were ordinary people who faced extraordinary circumstances and decided not to back down. They didn't wait to be saved. They didn't wait for permission to believe in themselves. They made the choice to keep standing, to keep moving, to keep proving that their circumstances would not define them. You carry that same potential inside you. It's in the way you've survived things you once thought would break you. It's in the way you've learned to adapt after losses. In the way you've kept going on days when you felt too tired to take another step. That strength has been there all along, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to realize that the hero you've been looking for is already within you. And the more you lean into that truth, the more you begin to trust yourself. You stop waiting for the perfect guide, the perfect plan, the perfect timing. You stop measuring your worth by the world's applause. You start to recognize that the power to change, to endure, to rise belongs to you, and it always has. As you keep choosing to be the one who stands up again and again, even when the weight of the world feels heavy, even when doubt surrounds you, even when the road ahead is unclear, you begin to see that heroism isn't a single grand moment. It's a collection of small, stubborn acts of courage that you repeat day after day, step after step, proving to yourself that you are capable of carrying more than you ever imagined. Most of us grow up wishing for certainty, a straight path, a plan that never shifts, a life we can predict. We cling to familiar routines, familiar places, familiar ways of thinking because we believe they keep us safe. But the truth is, real strength rarely grows in the comfort of what we already know. Change has a way of shaking the ground beneath our feet. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper, a small shift in the way we see ourselves, an urge to try something new. Other times it comes like a storm, an unexpected loss, a sudden opportunity, a door that slams shut while another cracks open somewhere we can't yet see. At first, change feels like disruption, as if it's tearing down everything you've carefully built. But if you look closer, you begin to see that every season of change carries with it a hidden invitation, the chance to expand, to grow into someone you haven't yet met inside yourself. The moments that frighten you most, the transitions, the new beginnings, the endings you didn't ask for, these are often the very moments that uncover strength you didn't know you had. Because in the middle of change, you are forced to reach deeper. You learn to adapt, to let go of what no longer serves you, to stretch beyond the walls you once thought were the edges of your life. We often believe that we need stability to feel strong, but it's in the unfamiliar, in the shifting, in the uncertain, that we learn how powerful we really are. Change calls you to step into the unknown, not because it wants to break you, but because it wants to reveal the version of you that is braver, wiser, and more resilient than the one who stayed still. Think of the times you've been forced to start over, the way you were built when everything seemed to fall apart, the way you found new paths when the old ones disappeared, the way you discovered new sides of yourself when life no longer let you stay the same. Those were not just moments of survival, they were moments of transformation. Each time you face change, there is a choice to resist it and stay trapped in the past, or to lean into it and let it shape you into something more. Resistance keeps you anchored to what was, but growth asks you to loosen your grip, to trust that there is life beyond the familiar shore. Sometimes we wait for perfect conditions before we embrace change. We wait to feel ready, wait for fear to disappear, wait for the road to become clear. But change rarely waits for our permission. It moves, it arrives, it demands. And the courage you need often comes not before you step into change, but because you do. When you stop fighting change and start walking with it, you begin to notice its hidden gift. You discover new ways to think, to love, to work, to believe in yourself. You realize that change isn't just something to endure, it's something that shapes your character, expands your vision, strengthens your heart. The more you welcome change as a teacher rather than an enemy, the more you learn that uncertainty isn't emptiness, it's space. Space for new choices, new paths, new possibilities you couldn't have imagined while clinging to what was. And as you walk forward through change, one day you look back and realize the person who was afraid of letting go is not the same person standing here now. You've grown, you've stretched. You've become someone you couldn't have been without the very change you once feared. So here you stand, not at the finish line, but at the edge of your next beginning. The world will keep shifting, the storms will keep coming, and there will always be moments that test you. But every test is proof that there is more in you to discover, more to rise to, more to become. You don't need anyone's permission to believe in your own strength. You don't need a perfect plan or a flawless past or the certainty of what lies ahead. All you need is the decision, the quiet, unshakable decision to keep standing, to keep reaching, to keep proving to yourself that you are more than your doubts, stronger than your fears, greater than your circumstances. The strength you've been searching for has been within you all along, waiting for the moment you finally trusted enough to act on it. And when you do, you will discover that the greatest victories in life are not the ones the world applauds, but the ones where you look in the mirror and realize, I didn't give up. I didn't let the storm break me. I am stronger than I ever knew, and I proved it to myself.